Federal Labor frontbencher Stephen Conroy says all offshore processing of asylum seekers is now in doubt, following the High Court's ruling against the government's proposed deal with Malaysia. Labor Senator Doug Cameron says the federal government shouldn't consider reopening the detention centre on Nauru or reintroducing temporary protection visas. The state government has announced a plan to tighten regulations on the security industry and will introduce legislation handing regulatory control over to the police. The state's police commissioner has been reappointed for another 4 years. Andrew Schaponi says he plans to retire in 2016. The federal government says the High Court's decision on asylum seekers is so far-reaching that it throws into doubt all offshore processing. The government yesterday refused to rule out reopening the detention centre on Nauru or reintroducing temporary protection visas. The Australian Federal Police say no charges have been laid yet over fires lit inside Darwin's detention centre yesterday. Northern Territory Police are holding 56 detainees at the Darwin Watch House. The Australian Workers' Union says the redundancy package offered to thousands of retrenched BlueScope steelworkers is unacceptable. Union delegates say BlueScope has offered 2.5 weeks' pay for each year served, plus 14 weeks' pay up front, and workers won't accept that deal. And scientists have identified the remains of bushranger Ned Kelly more than 130 years after he was hanged. Remains exhumed from the Pentridge prison in Melbourne in 2009 have been confirmed to be those of Kelly. Ferry staff will attend today's rally against the state government's decision to axe thousands of public sector jobs and cut conditions. The Transport Management Centre says ferry tickets will be valid on buses and trains. While teachers are striking for 24 hours, other public sector workers are stopping work until 2 o'clock this afternoon. The local share market is making modest gains in early trade, up 0.5% despite the strong gains overseas. The All Ords is up 25 points to 4,288. The ASX 200 is up 24 points to 4,209. The Australian dollar is losing strength against the greenback. It's now worth 106.3 US cents. The federal government opposition says it will continue to pursue the federal MP Craig Thomson despite the New South Wales Fraud Squad saying it's found no evidence to warrant a formal investigation into allegations that he misused his credit card while he was Health Services Union's National Secretary. And all of today's men's matches at the US Open in New York have been cancelled because of persistent rain. Police say 2 men forced their way inside a house in Revesby in Sydney this morning and splashed fuel on a woman. Police say the men left and fired a gunshot at the home before driving off. A unit at Arncliffe in Sydney southwest was also shot at overnight, bringing to 12 the number of shootings in Sydney in less than 3 weeks. Small Pacific Island countries say climate change remains the overwhelming challenge for their future. Leaders from across the Pacific, including the Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard, are meeting in New Zealand for the Pacific Islands Forum. The US President Barack Obama says Americans unemployed should be put to work as part of a comprehensive plan to boost the economy. Mr. Obama says a major road and bridge building program are part of his job creation agenda. And a 24-year-old marathon runner from New South Wales remains in a critical condition in hospital after suffering burns to nearly 80% of her body during a bushfire in Western Australia last Friday afternoon. 24-year-old Taria Pitt from Ulladulla and 35-year-old Kate Sanderson were trapped when a bushfire ripped through a gorge. 2 men aged 56 and 44 suffered serious burns and are in hospital in